The primary focus of the core series of books is to prepare students for applications or essentials. Although you might have students aiming for methods in your classes, these are not the primary demographic these books are designed for. For those students who are aiming to choose methods with or without specialists, they will be best supported by the standard level Essential Maths series. We know that students who undertake essentials in year 11 and 12 are those students who've previously found maths challenging and are often needing practice of basic skills and lots of repetition. We want them to be numerically literate, to be able to keep track of their finances and feel they can make decisions for themselves when they leave school. Some of these students may also need to achieve their ULNA for graduation, and being able to consistently practice these foundational skills across measurement, consumer arithmetic, and statistics is so important. And not all schools differentiate in the same way. And so it's important for teachers to feel they can use their professional judgment to make the best decisions for their students, selecting work that's accessible and relevant to them and where they're going to go next in their education journey. For students aiming for essentials, the core books can be used to focus on mastering fundamentals, including numeracy and ULNA practice where relevant. These students may not need the optional topics, but they're included for potential extension and differentiation. So for example, here's the table of contents for the geometry chapter from the Year 9 core book. As you can see, we have similar triangles listed as an extending option, as this is now Year 10 content, but it's also relevant to the scale factor and measurement topics now covered in the Year 11 applications course. Similarly, this is the consumer arithmetic chapter from the Year 10 core book. We have all the new Year 10 curriculum, including a consolidation of percentages from previous years. This is a fundamental skill that some students are still mastering. A teacher can choose to spend more time on these initial exercises, really honing a student's ability to find 10 or 20% of an amount, as well as increasing or decreasing by a percentage, which is a commonly assessed skill in ULNA. The rest of the exercises follow the Year 10 curriculum and leads into the finance covered in essentials, such as budgeting. The gold star content here is present for teachers who may be looking to extend students and front load some understanding of comparing interest rates, which is part of that Year 12 essentials course, when some students start to use spreadsheets to see how interest grows over time, or how banks may increase or decrease their interest rates, and the impact this has on a person who may have invested or borrowed money, for example. In the new West Australian curriculum for Year 9 and 10, SCASA has included this optional content. So this content is not mandatory to teach, but is provided to build and extend students' knowledge based on their interest, readiness, and preparation for senior studies. This optional content is labelled in the core series, matching those in the SCASA content descriptors. For example, solving simultaneous equations algebraically is now optional content in Year 10. It's included in the Year 10 core series for those students who are intending to study applications so they can be exposed to these skills before they reach Year 11. The mathematical thinking process and the statistical investigation process is a requirement of applications and essentials courses. For applications, investigations make up 20% of their marks, with specific reference to students reviewing the statistical investigation process. The implication being that they know what this is and have used it before they enter Year 11. It's an even larger proportion of the essentials course where practical applications and statistical investigations have a 50% weighting, equal in proportion to the response tasks they complete across the year. The emphasis on students being able to choose the maths to solve a problem is not something they necessarily arrive at senior school with the skills to be able to do. Introducing the modelling strand to Year 7 to 10 is a step in the right direction for helping to upskill students to be ready for these investigations. The EST for the Essentials course often asks students to evaluate the use of the statistical investigation process. And I can speak from my own experience with marking and teaching Year 12 Essentials that the students don't typically do well at this, especially if they haven't used it prior to senior school. As has already been mentioned this afternoon, the modelling strand is included throughout the core series so that these students can be exposed to more open-ended problem-solving scenarios in an accessible and unintimidating way. Teachers can choose how they might want to use these modelling tasks with their classes. The modelling tasks give teachers a starting point. They're not designed to be assessments, but to expose students to some of the skills needed and give them opportunities to practice writing down their process in a logical way. So this is one of the modelling activities from the Year 10 core book within the probability chapter. It's scaffolded to allow students a lower barrier for entry. However, teachers might choose to take out some of the structure once students are more familiar with the modelling skills. Additionally, this particular activity introduces students to the idea of a simulation, which comes up again in the Year 12 Essentials course. On the next slide, we have another example of a modelling activity, and this one is from the Year 9 core book around financial maths. Again, there's some structure provided in the book that teachers can choose to use or remove. Additionally, it provides opportunities for students to practice summarising important information provided in scenario, a crucial skill if students choose applications where all questions are embedded in a context with the students needing to decipher the relevant information needed to solve the problem. We're all starting from scratch this year with teaching modelling for the first time, so these resources can be a way for teachers to start introducing mathematical modelling to their classes, extending their understanding beyond just questions with one correct answer. Ultimately, as a teacher, you know the capabilities of your students and what level they need maths pitched at in order for them to either deepen their understanding or improve mastery of fundamental skills. These core books have been designed around supporting students as they move into senior mathematics, focusing primarily on applications and essentials pathways and giving those students the best chance at success.